And we've got some challenges here with decades of energy policy that has not been as clear as it could be or should be, driven by politics. Energy security matters. We better get on to that. Number two, security.
So your definition of energy security is what?
Your capacity to basically continue to fuel your own economy in a way that is actually not going to be disrupted by, short-term changes in either technology or other disruptions, third-party disruptions.
So where are we there?
Well, you asked the question about the US.
Do you understand what we're doing here in this country?
Well, I've got a point of view that I'm observing what's happening, and I think energy security should be a much higher priority, right? So, again, I'm not trying to say I'm not setting the policy. I'm just saying if you are really concerned and you're looking at long-term risk, come a little shorter and say what could get you very quickly. Energy security is one. Okay. Number two, just security.
Yep.
With the advent of AI, it's cross-border, and there are nation states that don't think the same way we are. They are looking at us and saying, gee, I think we might, take advantage of that. You've seen many examples of ransomware. That's the tip of the iceberg. The real issue is actually much broader than that, and it's a big deal. And that is that if there is some kind of escalation driven by geopolitics, doesn't even have to be related to Australia, just a mistake in the region. Those two frigates that were sailing up in the South China Sea got, buzzed by the PLA. If one of those young lads that was commanding one of those things made a mistake, what could have happened? Geopolitics is a near-term risk. There's things happening every day. And I'm going somewhere with this, which is when we start to look at where we are focused, we often miss risk. And we've got to come back and say, as businesses today, have you got your business continuity plans set and ready for the changing risk environment that we could face much faster than where we're spending a lot of time, which is climate governance reporting for companies? And look, that's fine. That's an important risk to be considered. And there are other things in social value add that you can measure and mark, that you can share with your communities. And, these are very important matters. But then you come back to what's going to get you: energy security where there's a third-party intervention of some kind into our operational infrastructure. AI is going to be an accelerant on that risk. And geopolitics, stuff we cannot control that we could get swept up in. Is business ready? Is business ready for those risks? And are they thinking about the true risk and integrated supply chain? Is government ready to be able to have the conversation in a mature way with business to say, how would we keep our citizens safe? How would we continue supply? How would we actually, what would be our series of priorities? I'm sure there are, people who are thinking about this in government and defence. But I think business probably needs to look at some of those risks and give it a little bit more attention.
Well, what should business be doing?
Well, in my judgment, they'd be looking at those things and asking a lot more on the scenario planning. It isn't saying, how are we going to deal with a ransomware attack? It's actually far more complicated than that. It's how will we sustain operations? How will we keep our workforces safe in the event that these risks materialise? How will we continue to deliver services to the economy and continue to employ people? These are complex questions, Greg, and I think, there's, when it comes to risk, I think about these things. I don't obsess about